Oh my goodness. Oh goodness gracious. It's another episode of Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. What? Damn. Ain't that great? Wow. Hey, welcome here. Welcome. Searching for Wisdom Within the Madness. Ah, boy, aren't we having fun? It's going to be fun, isn't it? Isn't it going to be great? So, this is the show. So, I got Dan Kaufman on the show today. And Dan Kaufman is... All right. So, when I was doing when I had gotten off the road in the late 90s, and I transferred that comedy energy into more of the open mic / showcase scene around Chicago. I remember this guy is low-key, smooth, funny. All right? I found out I didn't realize he's a cartoonist too. And it you know what? That would be kind of a description. If there was a cartoonist and he went up and did comedy, but he did funny cartoons and he would paint them on stage for you in a comedy set, but yet was the nicest guy, so low-key, very underrated. That's Dan Kaufman. Very underrated. Super smart. Freaking ex-lawyer, dude. Didn't even know that till looked it up. And there it is. And he's got an awesome podcast. Oh, shit. It's a good one. I'm going to get into it with him on that. Anyways, so we were good friends, but he's so low-key, I can barely remember him. But good friends. He'll say some stuff, but it very dry, witty, fun, but very low-key, like cool, just, yeah. And then there he goes, like a comedy sprite, I guess. You have a little sprite, like, ping, oh, look at that. Some glitter, great. I'm going to have to take a fucking shower now. Thanks a lot. Fucking sprite. Well, maybe not like a sprite, but he was, you know, it was like a cow. Imagine a cow. Close your eyes, and there's a field of cows. And then Dan Kaufman comes up to the mic and tells you some jokes. No, he's not like a cow. But, anyways, he definitely, here's what. If I was Bruce Dickinson, I would say for his comedy, he needs more cowbell. He does. Dan, that's my only piece of advice. You just need more cowbell in your life. I don't think you have enough. You're like negative cowbell right now. You get some cowbell. And then I'll remember. But, yeah. No, I do remember his essence, see? But moments and things like that, not so much. But the essence of Dan Kaufman, warm spot in my heart. Warm spot. And funny spot in my brain. Because he'll left turn you and what? Huh? He said that? Anyways, he is on, and let's haven't spoken once again. He's in California. Another time I haven't spoken to him years, 20, 30, who knows? It's all slipping by like a fast-moving river, isn't it? Right now, all time is just and you're like, no time to be shocked. It's like a raging river, rapids, and like there's rocks everywhere, and we keep heading for the sharper rock, and then it's gonna split the boat and kill us. Nope, didn't do it yet. And then another big giant rock is in the way, and a big wave, and it's so dipping, and people are falling off. You know, like about 190,000 people falling off the raft and drowning in the river, but you're still on the raft, and you're going, and that's what's going on. That's time. That's happening. What's happening? Oh my God, I can't believe, no way. He got away with that one too? Awesome. Look at how much he's getting away with. That guy who's leading up there in the main raft. I don't know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about? If you do know what I'm talking about, email me at sfwwmadness@gmail.com. And, write a full sentence and use punctuation. There you go. Full sentences and punctuation. And I would care not to have anything deceitful or not real. In other words, I want it all to be legit. No, you know what I mean. if you come with something, come with it with some honesty and forethought, and then write something where you talk about that un-PC thing I did, and I just blew by it, and I was laughing a whole bunch, and I should never laugh in a moment like that. So in those, just, full paragraph. There you go. And with punctuation, too. And, construct the sentences, take your time. Look back at it, see if does it feel right. Maybe sleep on it. And then you wake up the next day, and after you do, you drink your coffee, and you look at it with a new mind, and you look at your paragraph and say, would I send that to Darren at that show because of whatever? And then I'll I don't know. I was thinking about making a show, maybe a live one on Fridays, where I would answer questions and things. What do you think of that idea? Is anybody listening to this? Well, in the future, if I am still alive, even then, I will try and keep this email open, and then send me an email. I'll check that shit, and then maybe I'll still do a live Friday show, because right? We are all just trying to stay sane and keep on the raft, man. Look out. Oh, no. Look at it. It's really rocky, and it's crazy, and a lot of dead bodies. All right. In our wake. Welcome, Dan Kaufman. That's a good intro, by the way, for Dan Kaufman. That's a definite cowbell intro. Welcome, Dan. Catastrophe and death. Now let's go search for some wisdom. Oh, shit. Hold on.
There we are.
Are you... Okay, you got the sound? Hang on.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Should I dress up? You want me to put a suit on?
Just get the fuck out of here. Shut up.
You look so nice.
Shut up. It's my podcast. I'm supposed to look nice. You got a podcast. You know what you're doing. This is the illusion of me knowing what I'm doing.
I love it. The curtains and everything. We haven't started yet?
We are going. We're recording. Yes.
Oh, this is going? Okay.
Well, the problem I have is, and if you listen to the show, I'll repeat it again, the editing process. I'll tend to go down the rabbit hole, and then I will get so involved in it, and then I will think it's not worthy, and then I won't put it out. So right now I'm putting out content, and I'm doing it. I'm trying to learn to like myself.
Good for you. Yeah. You're not going to comment about the mask? I've been sitting here with the stupid mask on for 10 minutes.
Look, man.
And you don't even notice it. I was all ready. I'm wearing a mask for a Zoom meeting. It's hilarious.
Well, okay, all right. Before we got off on what we did get off, I will tell you what I was going to say while you had that mask. My first thought is, are you right now in your grandma's house and you just got back from a bar last night where you picked up a girl? Are you watching Grandma and you snuck out at night and went to a bar and the mask slipped a little bit and you were making out in an alley?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you're under 14 days quarantine for going to a bar and making out with a girl.
I thought you were going to be like, what are you wearing a mask? And then I was going to call you an anti-masker.
Oh.
I was coming in hot with bits.
Hey, I can edit this all out and I can pretend to start again.
No.
If you want that joke so bad, we can redo it.
No. This became its own joke.
It's a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, it's great to see you.
Oh, man, it's so good to see you. All right, so all right, to you for what you're doing out there in the world of the internet. I give that to you, but we'll talk about that later. What I wanted to say about you, Dan, is we're really good friends. Is this true?
Yes.
Really
we're
good friends
who haven't spoken to each other in a decade, but I feel love for you.
Like, how good of friends are we? What is the most perilous thing we ever did together?
Oh, we went on a canoe trip? Is there something more perilous?
No, I'm just asking you in your mind, because my mind, I explained that in my mind, so see if this description of you, if my description of you fits at all with what's the true. I felt you were very funny, very nice, very low key though, underrated. In other words, you were on the positive side. You were happy go lucky and fun, and you laughed and you got jokes. Yes. but your jokes they were like funny, but word funny, things you had to think about a little bit. Am I right, or am I going wrong?
That's fair. Did you want to say understated, but you said underrated? Or did you want
I
to say
say
underrated?
underrated is, in my mind, is like if you're talking about the best top 10 guitarist in Chicago, this dude's
Right.
totally underrated. He's just like,
So it's that's one of those things. It's like a compliment, but it also feels bad because it sounds like you're saying like people didn't think you were funny, but you were.
no, you were
You
low
know?
key. It was your
Yeah.
personality. So there's a way that you come off in certain people's heads, and the way you come off on stage, and you were a very nice guy. You're a very
This
nice
might be my
guy.
own neurosis, but I feel like whenever a comic describes another comic as nice,
Right.
it's like one of the worst things you could say because you're supposed to say. I mean, not supposed to say, but I mean, you want to hear funny. This guy's funny,
Right.
but like sometimes when you're talking about a comic who's not so funny, you're like, he's a nice guy. Like it's the only good thing you could say.
I
So
understand
that's
how
the
you
way
could see
to
that.
brain. I'm not
Right.
as happy-go-lucky as you think. 'Cause
That is, let me just
finding
tell you
insults
from
in
my
all your
point of view,
compliments.
the
Yeah.
way I'm saying it, the way my mind it comes out in me,
Yeah.
is not like what you just described. But I understand what you're saying, and
You know
that
what
is
you know
my
that phenomenon,
that's
right?
my blinder. Sometimes I get so hyper focused on exactly where it's coming from. That's just the way I
Yeah.
described it.
No, and and in fact, I remember some old video clips there of some sets I did at the Den, and I'd watch them over, and I could hear you because you'd be standing near the sound booth, and I could hear your laughter. It was
Right.
always very gratifying because you were like one of the like. I feel like you were
Yeah.
doing this a little before I was. I feel like you were one of the upperclassmen of the comics I looked up to and respected. Always thought of you as a real natural,
Right.
funny guy, and so hearing your laughs really made me feel good. Very
Yeah.
gratifying.
One of the greatest things about doing the open mics and everything is one of the when somebody went up like awesome and just did crazy good, weren't you? So it was like, cool, I'm seeing my little like Richard Pryor moment, or my little,
Yeah.
like,
I love that. There's this like idea out there in the world, comics as backstabbers and envious, and I mean, I guess
well, there is
might be some of that
competition.
there,
Absolutely, it's in there. It's not in
but
there.
we're also, but it's not purely that. We're like
Absolutely
we
not.
love good comedy, and we there's also a lot of support and kindness.
Especially, well, I was describing. I'll just fill you in since you're not watching the show yet, but you will be. Oh, well, anyways, I'll fill you in for the now, and then you watch this later and you go, oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Okay.
Darren's doing I don't know. Anyways, Dan Kaufman. Let me just soak you in for a little bit. Is that if I soak you in?
So
All right, there you are. Look at you. Your hair's basically the same, face is the same. That's
You too,
you.
buddy.
You haven't did much changing. I talked with a couple people who changed astronomically.
I feel like I've aged. I feel like I don't know if you watch Cobra Kai.
No.
Or there's a lot of these things coming out where it's like movies from the 80s. Or I don't know if you've seen Josh Gad's podcast where it's called Reunited Apart, where he like gets the cast of Ferris Bueller or the cast of Back to the Future on a Zoom call, and it's really fun. It's like all the getting the gang back together. Ghostbusters he did.
Right. That is great.
But part of that experience is being like, wow, everybody got older. It's like
Yeah.
everybody looks so different.
So with age, is there a fear for you of dying or anything like that?
I mean, I think I was more afraid of it when I was a kid and when I was in my 20s. Even though it's closer now, I don't worry about it as much. Although I definitely don't want to. I want to live a long time.
How did you worry about it? Let's just start with you as a kid.
You
How
don't
did
have to raise your
it?
hand. You're the host.
Well, I like that idea, and so sometimes I want to bore, and I know that these things can. If I let you go another 2 minutes, we're off into
Right, we'll be on something
20
else.
years later
Okay, so
into
this
the
is like, all right,
future,
Dan, wrap it up.
talking future
That's it.
Trump and
I'm
all
gonna do that
this.
too. That's great.
Yeah, turning into Soylent Green in the next 10 months, and no, it's people. It's
oh no. Spoilers.
yes, yeah. Instead, it's people. It's people who don't like Trump, are now Soylent Green. And you know the people that would the Republicans, if they truly knew that, they'd voraciously eat it. You know that's true, right?
I feel like
Donald
both sides.
Trump,
I feel,
right.
I mean, not to do the false equivalence thing, because I definitely hate that side, but I feel like we hate them so much.
But listen to this scenario.
Gladly devour
Here's the
them, too.
science fiction scenario. Trump wins. And then within 3 years, he somehow, through all his lies and deceptions, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden there's just people missing all over the place. And there's this new food on the market. And basically, it's, Soylent Green. Somebody finds out at the New York Times, and it's like, it's people. And then
Soylent Green is liberals.
you know that there's a contingency of America that would buy it all before they were about to take it out of the shelves. They would like buy all of it and just eat it
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
enjoy
so
it.
that's a double twist is that someone comes in selling Soylent Green is
Yeah.
people, and you expect
It's
everybody to be
liberal
horrified. They're like,
people.
awesome.
It's all the
Put it on
liberals.
label.
Every single Soylent Green cracker is made with half a liberal.
100%
Half a
liberals.
liberal. Yeah. And then, half a liberal. But you know that there's a segment of America that would voraciously eat that up
yeah.
and buy it, no matter how crappy it tastes. Like, it kind of sucks, but put
love
sugar
the
on
idea
it
of
and
it.
bake it. Yeah, boy. Oof. That Soylent Green liberal
Wrapping-
stuff is...
wrapping
Yum.
bacon.
Man, it tastes like justice. You know that's true. There's a segment of society that would eat
No argument.
if they knew, if somehow, it's the new chicken has come out and it's like, but all those people, but it's liberals somehow. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sorry. I'm going too far. That's too dark.
Everybody loves a little KFC.
Too dark a future. I apologize. Sorry, buddy. You made my mind blow up with them kind of statements. What you saying?
That was all you, man.
No, but yeah, I just wanted to chase it down. Now let's get back.
that was
Let's
great.
get back to you.
That was all an example of going down a path that would get you away from the thing that you actually wanted to say, and then you actually did go down the path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we're coming back around.
Do you remember what the thing you wanted to say was? Because I do.
Oh no, pick it up.
When you raised your hand, you don't remember, because I think you wanted to ask me about death, or how I thought about death.
Yeah, let's get back. That's exactly. I knew it was. I was just seeing if you knew. Yeah, death. So when you were a kid, how did you? Can you name any story or example of where it kind of clicked on to you? Like, the old story of like a kid squishes a goldfish and
Yeah.
Kill Bill 2, and he says,
Oh, man.
she has a
I
memory.
think it predates this, but definitely seeing Jaws.
Really?
Was a traumatic experience in my life.
Really?
Because it came out like, what, 76, 77?
Yeah.
So I was like 9 years old.
Whoa.
And somehow I just nagged my parents.
That's
for
not a
months.
good
They're like,
movie
no, you're
for a
too little, you're too
9-year-old.
little. But I was like, my friends have seen it. I want to see it.
Oh no.
I can take it. And I finally wore them down. And I went with my dad and my sister, and we each sat on one side of him. And then I remember there were moments where we were just hiding our heads in his jacket because it was so terrifying. And I remember I glanced up at that scene where, what's the captain's name? The actor?
Nemo?
He's-
I don't know. Can't remember.
The old grizzled captain of the ship. He's
Yes.
he's like the tough guy, and he's falling into the.
Oh
the
man.
ship is sinking, and the shark is halfway up the deck,
Yep.
and he goes in legs first, and he's screaming, and it's shark's biting him in the stomach.
Right. It
And
was
I
like
looked up, and I caught that image.
Oh no.
And yeah, I was having nightmares.
Oh my God, dude, that
I
must be
never
seared
went
in
to
your
the
brain.
Ocean, in my whole childhood.
It's seared in your brain even to this day. I bet you can close your eyes or not even have to and see it really clearly in your memory.
But I think there was other stuff too. I think that just sort of fed
Yeah,
into
there
it.
was other stuff. That just happened to be the
I think it's
goriest.
just like this dark. I don't know. I got this idea about death, and I think death is scary when you're little because you haven't lived yet. I think when you're
Right.
80, probably, or even now I'm 52. You've done some, I beat 50. I'm gonna be I don't want to die now, but if I do die, it's not as bad as if I died when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
12, you haven't done anything yet.
Right.
Now I sort of got a sense of the shape of my life.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think hopefully by the time you're 80 or 90, you're like, okay, this was good. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next.
I like it. I'm going to try and get some more natural light going here. So if you don't mind, I'm going to.
The whole time I was opening up about
I know.
fears, you were
but I'm looking
lights.
I'm vanity now. Oh, by the way, I didn't introduce my show. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So welcome to another narcissist with a microphone and a camera vying for your attention.
Wait a minute.
That's my show.
You took that. Did you?
What?
That's too much to be a coincidence.
What do you mean? I said, well, I did copy it off another guy, but I say and a camera. So and a camera.
Okay.
I took it off of another dude who has it, just the
I
microphone.
was like, oh, that's a funny coincidence. And then when you said buying for your attention, I'm like, okay, hold on.
That's right. That's called preparing for the show. All right. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Doing a little joke. Inside joke.
The joke that we're doing an inside joke. That's in the description of my podcast, the My Economic Jerk podcast. I say, another narcissist vying for attention.com was taken. So.
Yeah. I love your podcast.
Oh, really?
I love the idea of it. I've only listened to little snickety dicks of it right before the show.
Yeah.
But my God, dude, it blew my mind up. Mind up. Just the topics.
You were talking about editing, and like I'm a big believer in that too. Like there's enough podcasts out there. I don't feel like I need to do a weekly podcast. I'd rather do like one really good one a year. I could do.
No, these show the love, and I do like it that each one it moves. You have different people, different angles. You're the constant through it, but you're finding out. So in a way, you're kind of your show could be the title of my show, and it'd be more appropriate. Searching for wisdom within the madness.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that could be.
Sort of, so we've crossed over. We've each stolen each other's.
Yeah, so you're finding wisdom. You're figuring things out.
I am. Sometimes I tell people who like listen to the show for the first time, I'm like, listen, I often start out dumb. Don't get offended. Like,
oh right,
I might get wiser by the end.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes I start with an idea and I learn something as it goes.
No, absolutely, that's a great idea.
And just think like this guy's a jerk.
No, I love it. All right, can we get back to this, but go back real 1 second? What did you think when you first thought of death? The first time it really occurred to you, did you also think of, everybody through osmosis? I'm sure you're hearing about heaven. I'm sure you're hearing about God.
Yeah, I grew up in a religious house. For a little while, I believed in God, and I would.
Was it comforting?
I used to pray to God and ask for immortality.
Really?
I was like, please don't let me die. Give me immortality.
All right.
There was a phrase where I was praying for. I wanted all the powers of Superman without the weakness of kryptonite.
Without the weakness of kryptonite. Wow.
I said, not only did I want to have superpowers, I wanted to have not even any chinks in the armor.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, all right, God, don't just give me that and a pile of kryptonite. I know how you like to be tricky.
You wanted to be Homelander, didn't you? How dare you?
Oh, I'm all caught up. Are you caught up?
No, I'm not caught up. I'm rewatching the season. This is my 4th time watching.
I should have rewatched season 1 because I was watching. It's like I don't remember some stuff.
Oh no, I'm on episode 4 now of the first season. I'm just gonna take my time, taking my time.
Yeah, we got nothing but time.
But when you were a kid, death occurs to you now. Is the heaven thought and God thought a very comforting thing to you? Or you're like, oh. Because for me, when I found out that I was going to die, nothing in my mind but eternal blackness. And I was like, in a way, it's not going to hurt, I guess. Yeah. I'm not going to be in pain.
But I think that's even that's scary in a way because I think we're sort of we're imagining us experiencing a void. Really, it's just like you just.
But in a way, all you can do.
It's not blackness.
You can do. You can't empathize with death. You can't empathize with it. You can try. You can come to terms or whatever, but you truly can't empathize because death is its own thing. Well, you're alive.
Yeah. It's thinking about it's just like the time before you were born.
Exactly.
That, right? You weren't here.
Tabla rasa.
You can all totally imagine that easily, right?
Tabla rasa is what it was for eternity. Then you came along, and then tabla rasa for eternity after.
Yeah.
Tabla rasa. Here's Dan Kaufman right here. Did his podcast, was doing comedy. He's a lawyer, and
So
he did all this stuff.
Poof, gone again.
Tabla
Gone.
rasa again.
It's just like a little light
Fresh.
in the middle of eternity. It's over.
And then you leaving a podcast out in that world, you live on. Your voice can live on. So therefore,
but the whole universe is going to be like a little because it's going to expand and then it's all
now
going to go dark.
if you want to go, like if we want to travel like 40 trillion years into the future, let's just why be small? Why don't we just go 70 sextillion years in the future? I mean, it's gonna happen someday. And
well,
it's
in one of my podcasts, I talked to this woman from NASA, and she was like, she had this talk, and she's like, the stars are one day all going to burn out. This is, I mean, like they don't know for sure. But I always imagined that the universe was in a cycle. Like there'd be a big bang, and then it would come back, and then it would be a big bang.
Me
and it
too.
would go on for eternity.
Yeah.
But no, it might not go like that.
Right.
It might just keep expanding until everything is nothing.
that was wishful thinking, I think. It was like, we'll be just reborn, everybody. Come on, we go in and out and diddly do.
It's like an eternal cycle, but no, there might be a life and a death.
Wait,
to
for
the whole
40
thing.
billion years, we're going to be exactly the same, in the same houses, in the same places. You know, there's
What?
a thought that in the multiverse, like there's so many multiverses out there, like an infinity number of multiverses.
Yeah.
That there's so many, the odds are bound to be there will be another universe basically like this, the universe you're actually occupying. Like there's an infinitum of universes, so there's some doppelganger universe with the United States and a Trump and England and France and sure other
Well,
things
it's
will
all
be
the
different.
same, or doesn't it? Don't they all diverge into different things?
I'm just saying it's like super fantasy. Super fucking you got to really stretch your mind. I mean, you can't even wrap your mind around infinity.
I can't. The multiverse thing, just the idea, which is things have been proven, like Einstein saying that time goes slower the faster you go. So, like if you're on a spaceship going the speed of light, and you go for 100 years and you come back,
Right.
Everybody will be older than you, or everybody you knew will be dead, but you'll be okay, or something like. Time goes this is a fact. Time goes slower the faster you go.
It's true. We are going very, very fast right now. I described at the intro, just speaking of that, we're going, the metaphor for me is like we're going on down the rapids. And
you think right now, like COVID times, or just
no, humanity, each person, we're like all going down the rapids, and we're all in this giant raft, and there's a whole bunch of people, and so far 190 of them fell off the raft back there, and they're all floating and dead in the river behind us, and all these bodies are falling off the side, committing suicide and whatever. But we're on this raft, and every like day, Donald Trump like builds a new rock that's in the way of the river. Like, oh no, not this thing. Oh, it's gonna cut our boat in half. You get around it. You're like, another one. What? And then, oh no. And we're all the time, and it's like making our minds go really fast. So we're not soaking anything in, absorbing love and joy and everything. We're getting shotgun blasted with outrage. What? You're not outraged?
This is the thing on Facebook for a couple of years. Anytime anybody posted something that they were upset about, Darren would write on them, "Outrage!" exclamation point.
Oh, that's right.
That was your thing, and you were like satirizing everybody. And there was at some point I'm like, can't we get mad about anything, Darren? Can we ever have a feeling?
Right. Well, I got carried away. I did it for about, I'd say 4 months until I did it to the wrong person because they were giving a real, like one of those woke statements. And, being a white guy saying the word outraged comes out pretty sarcastic, I guess, if you want to read it that way. Although it was just being fun. I was just going down the line. I was in a mode. Right. I was in comedy mode. That sounds weird. Outraged. This sounds crazy. Outraged. Yeah. That has emotion.
Like
outraged. This is really happy. Outraged. This is really sad. Outraged. Everything that would click, whatever emotion would go. If it was a love emotion or kindness emotion, but you'd just be outraged. If you could just outrage all the way. That was just my way of saying.
That's fun. No, and I think what you were saying was like a good thing to say because we definitely are in a time where like people maybe get off on outrage too much.
Well,
I think you go too far.
it's
in
like
the
we're
direction
down
of
a
like,
fucking river, like we have
stuff.
no control. In other words, that's so compelling to our human minds. Like we're always trying to find things interesting. We're always trying to, like find more joy and relaxation and comfort and expression and whatever. And now we are being, in a way, propagandized to insanity. So like there's this, especially with all the things that are also happening at the same time, like who could imagine a fucking pandemic? Who could fucking imagine the economy going so low? Who could fucking imagine a guy in office that lies all the time and the one time he tells the truth is when he thinks that dead people are suckers? That, like, it's that intense with that guy. Like, he'll say those words. Why do I have to see
But
dead
that's the
people?
reality. You're saying we're being propagandized, like we're
Yeah.
being tricked.
Here's my theory on Trump. I think, honestly, that's just an excuse. Actually, he both believes and is afraid of ghosts. So he just says that other thing that sounds fucking outrageous when in his mind he just wants to scream and run and think there's a ghost. But it's suckers. They're suckers. Why would they go out there? And then knowing that.
Oh, you're saying that's why he disses dead people specifically because he's afraid that they are ghosts?
He thinks he's afraid ultimately of just ghosts, period. Doesn't care if those people are any graveyard. He doesn't want to go by nobody's graveyard. He didn't even want his dad buried in a graveyard because there's too many ghosts to see him.
But if you're afraid of ghosts, do you really want to like insult dead people?
I'm just saying he's a master
you're provoking
of distraction.
The ghosts. You're asking for trouble.
And here's the way he thinks. People who are afraid of ghosts are losers. They truly feel so. He feels himself as a loser, so he's projecting, and then he just says dead people instead of ghosts because he knows he's smart enough to know I can't start mentioning ghosts yet. I got to wait till my second term when I don't have to.
I can shoot a person at Fifth Avenue, but I can't.
As long as I don't have to get voters, and then I'll start mentioning ghosts. Then we're gonna hear about all this shit.
That second term, I mean, I really don't want it to happen, but it would be interesting to see.
Do you think that has any validity that he could be afraid of ghosts so much? He just said that about soldiers. It just came out because he's good at improv.
Like the most likely, he definitely feels like a loser.
Oh my God, dude, he is wearing loser.
He's a man in pain. Like
his whole body is loser.
Yeah.
He's just put together. It's like, in those horror, like science fiction things where at the end, the human you thought was a human was actually just an old ancient robot underneath, was malfunctioning.
You make it sound like there are like 100 movies that have that plot.
Just saying.
I want to challenge you right now to name one.
I can't name it. I just got that
one.
feeling.
You just said, that kind of that overdone cliche of horror movies.
Right.
Where there's an ancient Egyptian robot. No, I don't. I will no, I'm not yes-anding this one.
Well, here's what I'll just give you some side flavor. His hair is totally unreal what it's supposed to be. It's unreal of what it is. If it was straightened out the way it's supposed to be, it would look really wild on him. And the way that the world comes into his eyes and gets processed into his brain and then comes out his mouth and then also stays in his brain, and the way his brain kind of configures the world into this believe this lie, I believe it. That's why I'm convincing. I've just believed this lie that I said. Now that I said it, it's not a lie. And that's what isn't that kind of stuff is really. Is there any validity to that kind of thinking that it's like that?
What
shit?
do I know? Like that.
But I mean, it's what I'm saying. His brain is fucking twisted,
it's hard to
dude.
fathom, just like the multiverse. What the workings of Trump's mind and soul.
I'm not saying exactly. I'm just saying the twist.
Yeah.
He's twisted the way you take in information, processed it, and then
there's
the way
definitely some kind of crazy filter.
Right.
Yeah.
That
warps things.
It was totally fucking nurture, dude. totally nurture.
Oh yeah, his dad messed him up good. Yeah.
He psycho nurtured this kid.
Yeah.
His dad was a full out psychopath. Full out psychopath.
Yeah.
Full out psychopath. And a psychopath is a special thing. I mean, people are born with that. That's just the way the brain is. There's no, you can't just, therapy it away or anything. No, a psychopath is a psychopath. They go to therapy, they get better at being a psychopath. That's the only thing a psychopath. But a sociopath is basically a kid who was born normal. It was going to be basically normal. But then nurture comes in like a motherfucker and just twists the goodness and the otherwise, forward kind of human being it would be, and then twists it into this inhuman. Inhuman thing is a little harsh, but
that's roughly okay.
A very negatively unique human being with powers, like actual superpowers, because of all the fucked up things that it's doing right in the open, but yet not acknowledging him. I mean, he's basically an eternal president walking up the steps with toilet paper on his shoe, and he never mentions it, and it just keeps going, and nobody asks him about it. Or they try to, but he's like, I don't have toilet paper. It's not toilet paper. It's an air freshener. It's a whatever. And then he just, the way he does it, and everybody's kind of like, what the fuck? What the fuck? This isn't weird. This is not normal. What's normal anymore? I don't know.
That's the thing, because the world is full of, I mean, not full of, but there's always going to be a percentage of crazies out there.
Right.
What's really worrisome about Trump is not that Trump
superpower,
is Trump, but that 40% of the country, after everything's, not only likes him begrudgingly, but is passionately on his side and waves the flag.
You don't get that without having a superpower, and I argue that Donald Trump literally has a type of a superpower.
Like a 40% mind
the
grabber.
way that he believes his lies, and the way he does lie, and the way in other words, you draw comics and you make a universe kind of way. He is literally building a universe for himself, making everybody believe in that universe, even though it's all a house of cards, basically. Yeah. But he radiates an amazing, was built for it. All the negatives.
There's a talent there. You got to give him.
And that is the superpower. I believe that it was the combination of what his dad did to him, and the combination of the way his mind was already going to work to figure out, how do I earn the love of my dad? And then my dad, I got to show him Donald Trump. I'm going to make his name proud, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be better than my dad. And so then, he loves TV. Kid loves TV. He loved TV. And he loves to be on TV. And that's all he wants. He wants to be just a character on TV and just going, yay. And everybody watches him. And right now, everybody in the whole world, I think, is watching that guy in some way, at least once a week.
Oh, every day. You can't turn away from it. Yeah.
I'm just saying, even if you try not to, it's going to pop up somewhere. Yeah. You're going to look onto somebody else's phone.
I don't ever try. Like, I have a lot of friends who are just like, I can't watch the news anymore. Just,
right.
In a way, it comforts me. Like, it doesn't. I'm already anxious. Like, watching the news. Like, I like to know the latest thing that happened. I don't want to be missing.
So wait a minute. So what you're saying, it's like Adderall is for me, right? Because I got ADHD, and normally you would think Adderall is like a speed, and you wouldn't want to give somebody with ADHD hyper
news is my
thing.
Adderall.
You'd be like, no, but I get Adderall, and then that calms me down. I think more forward. I'm able to.
I like that.
I'm able to focus. So is it that same kind of thing? You think?
Maybe there's something there. I like that. That's a good connection.
Right. So you are kind of So this is that's interesting. Gosh darn it. So how do you process it? Do you process it like this is you? Are you very
it's
clinical
like a soap opera
and go, this is being bullshit, and I'm just
like
taking
sports.
So it's like sports to you?
I was always kind of a political addict, and I like and this time of year is like my Super Bowl. Just the debates, and I've got a friend that I grew up with who's like conservative and
Course.
religious. We don't agree on anything,
Right.
but we're sort of best friends. And we used to watch the debates together and score them, and then we'd argue like, and he'd always favor the. I mean, he says he's a libertarian, not a Republican, but he's kind of a Republican.
I know why you like it.
He's like an Alex
know.
Keaton, you know.
I know why
Love
you like
Reagan.
Politics.
Why?
You ready? I got the key right here.
I'm ready.
It's because your brain, the way it works and what you went into, over 80% of politicians are lawyers.
There's
And
something
it's
to that. I like the
all-
idea of debates. I like.
There's strategy.
I mean, I care about the issues too, but there's definitely like this combat aspect, mental combat that's fascinating to me, and the strategizing, you know, and
Yes.
then they said something. How are we going to counter program that?
Yes.
And what yeah. That's,
Yes.
It's fascinating. Yeah, you're right.
And so how long have you been, I mean, so this is right now what's going on. I'm a historian. I taught history and CPS for 10 years, so
Yeah.
I'm a historian.
What's your specialty? What's
Good
your,
stories.
What's your favorite period?
I like the 20th century.
Okay.
I like contemporary, like the right now. So right now, I like
You're a
the right
historian
now.
who likes the present. You're that rare historian
What's beautiful right now?
is very mindful and doesn't think about the past.
What's beautiful right now as a teacher, kind of, is that you can take a thing. There's so many different things, so many rocks in this rapids that we're floating down, items, headlines, whatever, and you can take it and apply those things into the past. So in the history class, they could take the now and we can try and fit it in like a puzzle piece. Where did it rhyme best? In what year? And with who? And where? And then we could find that place in the world or whatever, and then learn about the connection between what's happening now and what also went down then, and what was the result of what happened down then, and then what could happen from now to the future. Where could it go? And what should you do? And what, you know what I mean? Teach a class like that. That's the class
Are you
I would
still
like
a
to teach.
teacher?
No.
I'm envious of, because I had terrible teachers. In college I had good teachers, but high school, grade school, I just the worst. And it would have been awesome to be in your class. I imagine.
They ground me out, dude. I had a very, from the school of Stalin type teacher,
Were you
principal.
like what's his name in Dead Poets Society? Were you like the guy who's too cool for the system?
I was
You just
cool
couldn't fit in?
naturally. I got nominated Best Teacher of the Year. I came in a tie with another teacher. The only thing
bet.
she had over me was every Friday she would bake cookies and bring them to class.
That put her over the
So-
top. That's the tiebreaker.
Well, it was a tie. Well, I'm just saying, I didn't need cookies, and I still got tied with her. So that's
Right.
how good a teacher I am. I'm almost as good as cookies, bro.
You are as good, you just
Right.
without cookies.
But the thing with cookies, you eat them up, you get a little high, and then you get kind of sad after a while. Like, oh man,
Oh, that's your
I don't have
justification
any
for
more
not bringing
cookies.
cookies. It was for their own good.
Yeah. But that's why I like the now, because every day there is things that there's a lot of different historical moments that you could tack in, and I mean, right now when President Trump first came into office, all these people, historians, were kind of plucking him. Oh, that's like what Truman did. Oh, that's like what in World War II. Oh, that's like in the 1800s. When that's like. Now it's all basically narrowing down. Well, Hitler did this, and Hitler did that. You know, it's all boiling down to this one part in
Right.
time. Well, he's a little beyond Nixon now. Now he's some other
This is
figure.
one of the reasons Trump is doing so well, I think, because it's like this goldfish memory. It's like he's like, nobody knew this.
Yeah.
Nobody knew about this thing in the past. Like some people knew,
Right.
but a lot of people don't know any history. And so they're like, yeah, that guy speaks for me because I don't know anything.
The
doesn't
closest
know
thing we can get to now, what's happening now, is more of ancient Rome. We're going towards a Caligula type thing.
Oh, no. And here we are fiddling,
That's
huh?
right.
Like
Our-
Nero?
Our army is, I think, one day going to run to the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans, and to every ocean around the world, and start stabbing it with swords, trying to kill Poseidon wherever he may be resting in any one of those. And then he's also going to nominate a white horse to the Senate, of course, because, you know, he likes to. No,
The
but
Marines do still have swords, right?
they
Part of the
do
dress.
have bayonets.
I don't they
Oh
have
yeah,
an
yeah,
actual?
yeah, yeah. Swords, the
Yeah.
big guys. Those guys are called, I think, Jedi is what they call.
You
The
were in the
Navy
service,
calls them.
weren't you?
In the Marines.
You were
Yeah, yeah. I was not a Jedi in the service. I was a mere combat telecommunication specialist
in the army.
in the army. Jumped out of planes.
You're one of those suckers.
Fucking outrage, dude. How dare you, sucker? No, the army was good for me
No, that's great.
because I was fucking chaos. I was a
Thank you for your
ball of
service.
chaos before I
Yeah.
joined, and then the army was able to focus my chaos a bit
That's
to be
amazing.
able to.
I want everybody to take a minute, all
Live.
your listeners, just like think about that the Darren you see before you now
Hmm.
is the disciplined post chaos Darren.
Right. What would it be
This
like
is
if
the
I didn't
this
go
is
in?
the regimented yeah. Boy, what was the pre-army Darren like?
Gee whiz. If I didn't go in, my God, dude, I don't know.
No, I'm
be-
not saying what would you have turned out. I was saying just what were you like at 17?
I was very.
You don't remember, do you? Because of all them.
It's well, it's all no. I was late at the game on all that stuff.
Me too.
By the way, having ADHD is I'm kind of a sensation hound in a sort of way. I like the comfortablest clothes or the most comfortablest.
Yeah. I'm like that with sheets.
Yeah,
I'm pretty thrifty in most things, but I want to get really nice soft sheets. Yeah.
absolutely. So I've become that, and that applies to a lot of in that thing applies in a lot of different ways. So when I smoke pot, for instance, I get higher and stay higher longer than normal people that smoke pot all the time do.
Me too.
I take something, if they take mushrooms, like one time, okay, I'll give you an example. So me and Steve O'Harvey, we stop over at Monty's house, and we get these cookies that Monty's made of, all this. He would smoke through a vape, and then he'd take the weed that was kind of burnt away, and then make a butter out of it, and then make a chocolate chip cookie out of that. And then he would have those cookies in the freezer, and he'd have one every once in a while. Get the
Waste not, want not.
right. Well, these cookies, I guess, when you kind of vape or air smoke, hot air smoke weed, you don't get you. I don't know, man. You leave a lot of THC. In other words, he made this butter that was incredibly crazy. So we get 2 cookies, all right, and. He goes, Steve, I'm with Steve, and I go, I don't know, I don't know how I should take these. I don't do well, I don't do well. So he's like, take half a cookie. Let's both take half a cookie. So we're driving there, and I'm about a couple minutes away. I know a cookie isn't going to hit me in like 2 minutes, and
Right.
it didn't. But I ate half a cookie. We just then pull in, park, get out of the car. Anything now? Yeah, it's good. Yeah, tasted kind of.
Takes a while,
It's good.
yeah.
Right, whatever. We get into the house, and then we start playing cards, right? You were there playing cards before, right?
Sure. That was a good time.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm at the end of the table, and Steve's over next to me, and we're about 15, 20 minutes into cards, and man, like a fucking tidal wave just hitting my brain. Oh my God, like cards were all melty. Were they like, do I have cards? Were these the ones that I threw away, or did they just give me these? Should I grab them, or will everybody yell at me to stop grabbing the cards I shouldn't? Should I? What are we doing here? Wow, whoa. Do I have to bet right now? Why is everybody looking at me? What do I do? And then I say, could you help me? And then you throw in my money. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there. I'm like, whoa. And like, what did happen? And then he's like, what are you doing? Like Jay would be next. What's wrong with you, Bodecker? I'm like, I don't know. Fuck. And so that was happening like in big time. And I look at Steve and I go, I get up. And so we go to the kitchen and he goes, is this affecting you? And he goes, not really. And then he munches a whole other cookie. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm so glad I didn't do that. Oh, my God. And so then I knew, and then we walk back to the table and then all the world's just going to shit. And then it happens. It's the fucking worst, dude. My mind just goes into the deepest, darkest place and just dwells on death. Death, how's it going to happen? Is it going to be painful? Who's going to be caring? What are you going to do? It's going to hurt. Ouch.
Do you ever like get so high you think you are dying?
Oh my God, dude, this was the moment. I got so off a half a cookie. I looked at Steve's eyes. Steve's eyes were glowing like those people's eyes in Dune, like the blue shit. They were just glowing. He was like, "Oh, dude." I was like, "You." Oh, and I looked at his eyes, and they're like just glow. They're actually red, like he looked like a Sith. Yeah. And so he's like, "No, they're great." I'm like, shit, but he's still playing cards. Clearly, it's working for him. So I needed to go. I then had to quit the card game, which I love. I only do it once a week. I'd wait all week for that thing. I had to walk off the table, went into the couch in the other room, and for the next fucking 3 hours, I contemplated death.
Good times. And it's probably 3 hours that felt like 30 hours, right?
Because I was swearing that I was going to die.
Slow.
So here's the combo it was. It was me thinking about death while thinking I am dying. Like, oh, my heart's not working. Yeah. Oh, is this how you breathe? Oh, wait a minute. Room. Am I dead and I not know it? You know, so I'm so fucking high. I'm like, it's beyond body, whatever. I can't feel my toes. I'm just lying on the couch. And everybody's having so much fun and I'm envious. Like, I wish I was this. I wish I wasn't thinking about death. But I'm going to die. Oh, my God. This could be my last card game before I die. I should go play, but no, I can't. I'm going to die.
Cards, that's not a good combo. You go to a concert, that's a good combo.
Oh, my God, dude.
Music and pot is great. I had a funny memory about you. I want to see if you remember this.
Go ahead.
We were at the Elevated watching a show, and Josie was there with you, and she was standing behind you, and maybe she was like holding your hand or scratching your back or something, and I just kind of came in and I was like, here, and she was rubbing her back, and I think I just put my hand, and she like went along with it. And then I started rubbing your back, and I was like, oh, Darren's going to turn around. It'll be funny. But you didn't turn around for like 10 minutes, like this whole set. And I'm like, well, I'm not stopping. And I just kept rubbing, and I'm like rubbing your ass, and I'm just rubbing and rubbing. For the longest time, like I committed too much time now. I can't stop. He's got to turn around eventually. You're just watching the show and enjoying it. Finally, you turn around and it's me.
Oh my God!
You were like, "Oh, I thought I was gonna get lucky."
Oh man, I think when I turned around was right when you were about to jack me off. I felt the hand coming down and gripping.
I gotta escalate.
I felt the grip, and I thought I would at least give a winning smile to you, but then I realized it was you, and I was
Mrs. Peel.
I quickly did improv and pretended like I knew it was you, and I was like, yeah, that's how far I'm willing to go, you chicken. But I had no clue. I just acted it out.
Good for Josie.
That's right.
She and I were just back there laughing, like, holy shit.
Think when it happened, I was like, and you go, wow, I was really doing it for a long time, and if I remember correctly, I'm just like, really? That was a long time. I did feel it.
Maybe you were high then, too. Yeah. Just, like, it seemed like 5 seconds to you.
Well, I think that what goes to is that's another thing that you're nonchalant. My girl would rub my back, or you would rub my back. You're just caring and loving and nice, and it didn't feel weird. It isn't like you came at my back and you gave me a big like horse bite or anything. You know, like you're rubbing me.
I wasn't loving. I was trying to prank you.
Right, but it was so low key that I couldn't tell it wasn't my own gal that I was married to.
Well, yeah.
You didn't do anything radical.
I just could have just like started like just like
you should have just what you do is next time you just start with patting the balls just hard enough that I almost get racked. That's how you get my attention right off the bat. That's what guys.
That's the kind of roughhousing that the boys do that I never like. Don't flick my balls. Right. Don't Yeah, don't smack
Otherwise,
my.
you weren't going to get my attention. You just keep rubbing, buddy. You just keep
That's too
rubbing my
rough, boys.
backside.
Don't whack balls.
Yeah,
Don't whack the balls
when
of
you're
your
going to
friends.
my butt, man, I was like, no matter what this is, it's just good. Whatever it is, it's all good. The whole world's
Whether
a
this
good
is my
place.
wife or a comic fucking around.
And to know that you were
gonna
behind
just
it going,
embrace it.
this'll get his attention. This'll show it. Boy, he's going to jump up to the moon when he sees me touching his butt. Oh, nope, he's
I
not
guess I
doing
gotta start
it.
licking
Yeah.
his lower back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were having to cross the line, I think, almost. You'd
I
had
played
to
this
punch me in
X-Files
the
game
arm. Aren't
with,
you ever going to pay
Ryan
attention?
Ridley called Gay Chicken, where we just start holding
chicken.
hands and just see who backs off. You have to be straight to play this game. If you're gay,
Right.
it's an unfair advantage.
Gee whiz. I guess the line would be the actual kiss.
Yeah, I don't think we ever.
Or a
raised the kiss,
dick
but
touch.
sometimes there'll just be like a handhold for a long time. And
Right.
one person has to stop at a certain point.
Yeah. Definitely finger up the butt is just crossing the line for me. That would be just the lines
Yeah,
crossing.
you say that now.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, I would not want the line to be crossed. I guess I'd be chicken if I was, with
Well, you never had a doctor do that?
with a De Niro type who's going to be so committed. Yeah, I'm like the Michael Jordan of competition now is going to play gay chicken with me, and I'm trying
Don't back down.
not to lose on this one.
Blowing you. Yeah.
Yeah, and next thing you know, we've been married for 8 years, and then he says, "All right, you look all right. I give." This whole thing's been you got me. I'm like, good,
8 years. I knew I'd win. Yeah.
good. Sign those divorce papers and let's never speak again unless on a podcast 20 years from now.
There's a funny show on Netflix called I'm Sorry that I recommend to everyone. It's it's iffy if the third season's getting picked up. But it's this funny comedy writer woman, and she's with all her comedy friends, and they're at some party. Everybody's cracking wise, and somebody's like, "Well, I'm not leaving until I get blown." And the guy next to him, apparently he's like, "I'll do it," and they're all just goofing. But then the guy pulls his dick out, and the other guy bends over. And everybody, all the friends who were thought they were just playing a gag, witness a blowjob. And then they're not clear, was it just like what we're saying? Nobody wanted to back down? This is kind of funny, awkward moment.
Right, because especially once somebody comes, a psychological line now has been crossed, and hopefully on the other side is not filled with great regret that you can't truly explain your way out of because it's so complex. And
you've got DNA in your mouth or face.
there's a whole thing, dude. There's a whole thing. Yeah.
Maybe you should call this show "Gay Panic" with
Gay
Darren and
Panic.
Dan.
All right. So, since we're on this,
Homophobia blues.
I will tell the truth because, why not? I saw your podcast and they go pretty deep. So here's pretty deep.
Okay.
So, when I was about to go into the 10th grade, so I was going from the 9th grade to the 10th grade. And during the summertime, I was best friends with a guy in Florida. I'll just say where I lived at the time. When I was about to go into 10th grade in Florida, I was friends, and this was the summer of discovery for me. So this friend started going out with this girl that his friend, so my friends had another friend who had a friend of their family. Well,
Okay.
that his, all right, this is a tough one. This is many. So my friend's friend really liked this girl, but my friend stole her, and they started going out. So we all went to the beach one day, and me and the guy who really liked that girl, we were all hanging around, all four of us playing in the ocean. And at one point, he and the girl goes, "Oh, we're going to go and go to the bathroom. We'll see you guys later." And they were like, yeah. And so me and the other guy are playing around, and we wait about 10 minutes, and I said, "Let's go, come on. let's see, which way they go. And so they, they made us look out in the ocean, not look where they were going. But we started searching these dunes of sand. There's all these big dunes where I was living of sand. Like you'd go way up and there'd be this little alcove
Nice.
and then where you could, well, anyways, we like snuck up this dune like Marines. We're all coming up there, because we could hear sounds at the top of it. And then we literally I saw a live, my friend getting ridden by
Nice.
the guy who really liked the girl that was right next to me. And then I look at him. Yeah, because he's looking, and me both come over the ridge and see my friend getting doggy styled by the girl we knew. And so it
Wait a
was
minute.
like,
He's doggy styling her.
no, she's doggy styling him. He's lying down in the alcove, and then she's riding him. And then we come up and then see we're in mid-ride as things are going on. And then looking at his wiener, like, oh no, I saw that. And we were kind of like looking away, but and wanted to see, but didn't. It's my friend. Oh, why his wiener? It's weird. No, shouldn't, but we did. And so, anyways,
Sure.
we'd sit there and watch till it was like, it just got too weird. And then we're like,
You just
where should we
belly
go?
crawl backwards.
Yeah, the friend's like, he's got all these panic attacking. He's turning red and weird. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to blow up, dude. I don't know. Let's go. And so we shimmied down the hill, ran back to where we were, jumped in the water, to get rid of our boners. Because, 16, you see something like that, and it's like an
sure.
explode. It's like the COVID. You get it, and you're like, boom, I got one too. Oh, no. It just happened. It's so contagious. These boners. They just saw one, and then one happened to me and my friend.
Do you have that thing when you were in school of like the boner happening just like in class, but you're wearing pants and it's just constrained. You want to adjust it, but you're in class, so you can't, and it hurts. I remember that happening a lot.
Right.
And I wonder if I gave myself a little arch by all the times that it was held down.
Yeah. So it didn't happen much for me in school.
You didn't have those unwanted boners?
I did, but I also had a greater fear / shyness / thing that would override me to even be so strong as for me to control a boner.
Wow.
An uncontrollable boner I was able to, dude, and then it would be like, all right.
Good for you.
And I'm like,
I remember, like, even in my like
teacher's
late 20s,
here,
slow dancing with a girl and being like, oh geez.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by potential bullies, dude. Don't you dare! Do not get beat up in the playground.
Be cool.
Be cool. Yeah. So yeah, hardly ever. But if it did, I would. It was always it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game. Okay, here we go. All right, good night, everybody.
Let's you.
Yeah.
Why the sneeze?
It was. It was. So, anyways, we shimmy down. We go back, and then.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We go to the showers at the beach, right? Him and her come back, and me and the friend are at the beach. Oh, where'd you guys go? As if we didn't know, and they were completely oblivious to what we had done. And so then finally we get to the showers, and they have a girls' showers over here where it's sort of those showers, and then the boys have a shower. So all the boys are in the shower, and then me and him confess, we saw you on the hill humping her. We saw you humping, you humped her. And he's like, yeah, well, I know. And we're like, is it the first time? Yeah, it's the first time. And then we're all just like that. Well, anyway, I guess it was those kind of ceilings where even the girls' side had a space in between. So she was just in the shower, totally listening to the whole thing. And then when we get out, she then recites everything we had said, and we're embarrassed as fuck. Because, we're not. But she played it cool. She played it. She was all nonchalant and everything about it. And
maybe not her first time.
It wasn't her first time, actually enough. But here's the twisted part of it. I was 16 at the time. She was only 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. She was. She lived in a literal trailer park in Florida. And
she was sexually precocious.
She just was If I was to be honest with you, something probably weird happened with some uncle or some kind of weird
Yeah.
shit. Or maybe her mom just was so liberally talking about it, and here's how you do, the birds. She'd been learning about the
Right.
birds and the bees since she was 6.
Or not even talking about it, just like hearing her in the next room, bringing guys back to the trailer or something,
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
Well,
It's close quarters,
since
no
we are on this
secrets.
story, there is a bigger ending to it. So
Okay.
check this out. So then, we'll say 2 weeks later, my friend calls me on the phone. And he goes, I'm thinking about breaking up with her. And my first thought is, yeah, you should break up with her. Because I want to go out with her. So that kind of thing. Like,
So
because
you're
I think
like,
she likes me. So
I support that choice.
I remember her smiling and laughing at my jokes. That's a huge sign for me that
Yeah,
a girl might
sure.
actually be interested if they
Sure.
laugh at me. So anyways, I was like, yeah, you should break up with her. Yeah, she's no good. Da, 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 da. Literally the next day, I called her up and asked her to go to the movies with me. And it was that next week, and it was the premiere of Indiana Jones.
The first one.
The first one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. So we go
What
to...
year is this?
This is 1980... What, 2?
You're 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or 17, 16.
You're born in 66?
65.
Okay. You got 3 years on me.
Yeah. So
You
maybe it
old
came out
fart.
82. Yeah, I do. But then, now, so she says yes. I was the first time I was really ballsy enough to ask a person out. I guess it was the thing. I just had to see a vagina first, and then I would get the nerve to ask you out,
Right. You're
which
like, I wanna know
rarely
more about
happens
this.
in life. It really rarely happens. I had to lower my standard to seeing somebody's vagina before I asked them out. Anyways, so. Yeah. Honestly, the age thing, she was, I'd have to say, smarter than us, wiser than us, just knew the world. I was like a dumb ADD. What? Humping? You hump? What?
You're a
Hump?
kid. She's kind of
Anyways, I asked her out. So we go to the movies, go see Indiana Jones with my parents. So my parents are sitting here and my brother and sister over on the other side, and we're kind of in the middle. And, she knew that I saw her humping my best friend, and she knows that I know that she humps, and she knows that I know that I saw her. And so, anyway, she's just playing with my stuff, and I have to have a big thing of popcorn, and she's just rubbing it like just crazy, and I'm like, what the?
Does the Indiana Jones theme song to this day kind of get you a little aroused?
So here's what I remember from Indiana Jones. So I remember the beginning part, and there's the ball, and then all the snakes, and he's in the plane. They get away from those natives who are shooting those things, and then he goes into, and he's a teacher, and then he's in class, and the girl's eyes say, "I love you," and then somebody's touching my wiener. Oh, she's touching my wiener. Wow.
All the rest, the guy melting.
She'd been eating a bunch of popcorn. We got buttery, so she had like buttery hands on my.
Nice.
And she just was just like. She just like going for, like she was almost like a robot, like an android. Sex now, jack off, like ding, ding.
Karate chop move.
Yeah, there's a sort of sliding on, and then there's just a going, like, oh my God.
But she pulled you out, or is she in your pants?
She is in my pants. She worked her way into my pants basically by the time Indiana Jones started his adventure.
Yeah.
Like out of school, and he found out
you had started yours.
The Lost Ark. Oh, really? And then, oh man, my wing. And then, so my mind is just focusing on the hand. I'm seeing images, but my mind is thinking about what's happening. It's visualizing that thing that's going down.
You're having a dual.
It's
reality.
and I knew the movie was good. I remember looking up and seeing a melting face. I remember seeing a monkey. I remember seeing, snakes again. And I remember seeing, those things. And a lady was drinking. But then, other than that, that first movie was all focused on the first date. And so then after the movie, By the way, I guess it was terrible because I did not blow load in the theater. I think that's also, I'm so shy. I was able to hold back
That's
a
amazing. Yeah,
blowing an
like the
orgasm.
first time you should be
Right.
done in 60 seconds.
No, it was so
Yeah,
otherworldly that it was so weird and freaky, like
good for
science fiction
you.
to
So you
me.
got to stretch out that experience. You
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
I was able to maintain, basically a hard on for about an hour and a half
Sure.
without doing anything. I think I had incredible blue balls though.
Blue
But
balls, I was about to say. Yeah.
so, anyways, at the end of the movie, I have these incredible blue balls, and my mom and dad are driving us, and they're going to now take us where they take her home, and they're going to take me home. But I am begging to please, can we see the second time? Can we see the next show? And she's begging, and I'm begging my dad. And my dad, he's a good dad. He's stern. He's like, no, you're not seeing. Because I know if I would have saw a second viewing, I'm sure I would have blown a load at that one.
Yeah, definitely.
I was more prepared. At least I think I know what's going to happen in this one, so I can go. So I would have caught more of the movie, which was awesome, and then also that sensation. But anyways, so literally they drop us off, and then within the week, it's still summer, right? And she lives like 12 miles away. So I call her up. This is like 2 days after the movie. It's like on a Monday. And her mom's at work. My parents are doing their thing. I'm not being
I will
supervised.
walk 12 miles.
I had my bike. I had like a, like a
bike.
Schwinn,
Okay.
like motocross bike.
What, you could do that in an hour, right?
I'm
Or
basically
two?
6'4" on a Schwinn. When I'm 7, I'm, like a 6'4", 16-year-old in this little motocross bike. So anyways, I go the 12 miles. I get what the address is. I look at a map. I go. I stop at gas stations. I ask directions.
Ride your bike.
Well, one of these, the last gas station was owned by. It was more of a Chinese or a Japanese or the. I didn't see being PC now. I don't know, but it was an Asian type gas station. In other words, it was owned by somebody who was Asian. And they had products that were Asian. Well, anyways, in the bathroom, he had Asian condoms. Didn't say the word condom, but the picture was there, and that's what it was. And then these different colors, and then big like big jaggedy things, and then kind of, I guess maybe it might have been Japanese, like So, anyways, I bought one of those for a quarter. That's what they cost. And, so I'm going to have a condom because I know that if I'm already getting stroked at wait till I get to her place and nobody's home. And so we do get to her place, and it's like basically she's just there. Like it's on, like just that it's on. And I'm like, oh, wow. And so we're making out, and all of a sudden we're on the couch and we're doing, and then it gets to like, we're going to really do it. And so then I pull this condom out, and it was really the best way I could say is I don't think it was made for Americans. Anyways, it was green. It was this lime green, and it was it's not as tight, but basically as tight as those type of balloons that they do balloon animals with, where they could shape it into a snake or a sword. Maybe a bit bigger than that. Well, anyways, this thing was like, it hurt. It was driving back blood into my, like I couldn't, it was really tight, but I had to get it on because this is what it was. So, and not only that, it was thick. Like it was abnormally thick, like an actual balloon. It did have it could have been a fucking balloon, dude. I could have bought an actual balloon.
It wasn't a condom at all.
All these years, I don't know. I think it was in the bathroom. It looked like.
Right. That's usually where you don't find balloons.
Why would they sell a balloon in the bathroom? Anyways, I put this thing on and it like hurt. So then we start doing it. And honestly, dude, could not feel anything. It was so painfully tight and thick that there was no sensation. There was no loose. It was like really.
That's interesting though. Your first time, you were like, you were smart enough. Like, I gotta have safe sex or a condom, because I think a lot of kids aren't that careful. Why are you so careful?
So anyways, we do it and we keep doing it. So I'm once again, I imagineer my getting away from like, this is painful and uncomfortable and ouch, to like, oh, we're this thing, and oh my gosh. And then I'm picturing in my mind what it looked like when I saw it and her doing, and then I'm trying to concentrate on sex, but it's terrible. Oh, by the way, another big turnoff thing that happened, as soon as I walked in the house, one of the other things that made her more mature than me, she smoked cigarettes like a sailor.
Yeah.
And not only that, but she had just downed a bag of taco flavored Doritos also. So now we're doing the terriblest French kissing, and it's the worst tasting hot, spicy tobacco Marlboro ashtray I've ever made out with. Anyways, we're doing it, and there's no sensation whatsoever. No sensation. We just keep going and going to the point where she's going, "What's wrong?" Like, this is supposed to be over like 10 minutes ago. And anyways, I'm like, yeah, there's nothing. And then all of a sudden, without any warning, I felt a big wash of sensation. And in my mind, I thought, oh, finally she came, and there was a warm river of her juices that came down, and I was sensationalized. And so then it was like, yay. And then I remember laughing a whole bunch. That's just what I do when I orgasm with new people. It's a thing. I remember laughing like the Joker.
I remember.
I'm laughing like the Joker because it's so weird and so wild, and I can't believe I did it. And then I pull out, and dude, wouldn't you know it? That thing not only broke, but the whole thing, like you normally have some around your penis. Nah, not this one. It just goes all in there. It's just gonna knock. There's no ring around, nothing. It broke.
So it's all solid. Inside.
Yeah, that thing blew up like the frickin' Hindenburg, dude. It was like.
You're a big man.
So then immediately comes in your head, the reason I'm wearing a condom is because, oh my God, I can't be a dad now. Oh my God, the babies come from this. I did go to school. I do know what happens. No. And you know what she does? She's all nonchalant. Oh, it's okay. It's not a problem. It's all right. So she goes to the bathroom. No worries. And then here's the thing she says to soothe me as I'm freaking the fuck out. Thinking there's no way I can marry this person. You know how you have that afterglow? Like,
yeah, you're just like,
I shouldn't have been doing it with you in the first place. This was a bad thing. My first time I realized, oh no, I should have better thoughts. Anyways, so then she, to soothe me, says, don't worry. I know I'm 14, but my sister had a kid when she was 14, and my mom had my sister when she was 14.
Wow.
That was to soothe me. She was going to soothe me.
So that helps, right?
She was going to, I'm supposed to go, oh, thank goodness.
Oh, you're used to this.
I thought I just killed you. I'm sorry. I thought the baby would rip out of you like Alien. And then, oh my God. So anyways, that did not soothe me. It actually made it crazier because I go, oh no, she wants it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember for 2 weeks, I did not call her. So after that at all, she didn't know my address actually. So I never gave it, and I didn't call her. And so for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, cut to like about 6 weeks in, I had not called her, said anything. I had been, basically those first week, I was crying outside every night, praying to God so hard, saying, if you're real, I will not have a kid. Please, 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 please. And I was sincere as fuck. Yeah. Please, God, please, please. So I did not call, and I remember getting phone calls. Those were
God's like, hold on, I gotta give this kid the powers of Superman without the weakness of kryptonite.
Yeah, back then you had the house phone. You just stay out of the house. She doesn't ever get in contact with you. And mom's go, hey, this girl called for you. I'm sorry, I'm gonna call her back, and you wouldn't. So anyway, 6-7 weeks goes by. My mom gets the phone, and then she says, Darren, answer this phone now. And so then I get on the phone, and it's the girl who I haven't spoke to in the last 6.5 weeks or so. And she says my name, and then I just answer. The way I kind of answer, I think I'm very curt because I've built up through 6-7 weeks this kind of weird, like, what, like kind of defense, I think. And I'm like, yeah, we're broke up. That's about how much strength I had. No, we're not going out together. Didn't you read that sign? I don't, and I didn't mention anything. So then she starts crying like crazy. Then her mom gets on the phone, And her mom goes off on me, like, fuck you, not gonna be around my daughter. She's been fucking crying and da 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 da. The riot act. And then I remember hanging up the phone, just feeling really weird, but kind of it made me feel good that the mom yelled at me and called me fuck, because I did feel deep down that wasn't in my character to be mean like that, and I should be more, but I just was in such a panic. Right. You know, I couldn't, it was real business, and I wasn't ready to grow up. I'm like 80. Was
it affirmed that she wasn't pregnant on this call? Or are you still?
No. So now let's go to the mystery a little bit. So then a year or so later, I literally moved like 2 months into this new school year, and I moved somewhere else. She was grade below me, or 2 grades below me, or whatever. Yeah. And so anyways, I'm going 10th grade, and yeah, that's kind of creepy when you think about it. But I was 16, and us with ADHD.
2 years, that's fine.
They say people with ADHD basically 5 years behind. So I was basically 11 or years old. So I was just an 11-year-old.
She's the creep,
mentally.
Really.
Yeah, and the way she acts, she was about basically 22 or 23 as far as I was concerned. Right. With an answer like, don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Sure. Well, if we get pregnant, we get pregnant. You know, so that was her attitude. Anyways, so I do still have my best friend up there, and we do remain friends, and I never told him that I went out with her, but we still remain friends. I just kept that from him. I never said that we went out, because I told my friend what a crazy and bad person she was, and you should never go out with her. And, you know, if he ever found out that I went out with her, right. You know, it would seem that I was actually a bad person. Anyway, so a year later, I move away to a whole other part of the state, real far away, like 600 miles away. And over a year later, this next summer, my friend comes down, and I go back up with him and go to the old, and we go and hang out. And so we go visit this girl. And just happens when we walk in to go visit her, she's in a chair. And I don't know anything what's going on, but she's in her chair. And she has a baby swaddled, a baby. And I remember coming in the door, but being so convinced in my mind that God had not given her a baby. And so I was completely convinced it wasn't her baby. So when I came in and she looked at me and I looked at her with the baby, the first words out of her mouth were, "It's not yours." And the way I convinced myself, I took that was like, I know. Because God made sure of mine didn't work.
Yeah, we've spoken.
That's the way I remember then acting like, but being a little bit like, wow, that is a pretty new baby. So, it was a wild summer for her. There was still a couple of weeks of summer left when I left her, so who knows what could go down. But anyways, so years go by, decades go by. I get Facebook. Facebook goes by for a decade. Then one day, I'm just reminiscing on that story. And I remember now, because what blocked my mind from the story was me remembering so hard that in my mind saying, yeah, I know that's not my baby. That's you, it's with somebody else, or you're just babysitting, or whatever the hell it was in my memory. And so that's why I didn't dwell on it. But when I thought back at all the other things, and I go back to the 6 weeks later getting that phone call, maybe it was 7 weeks, maybe it was 8 weeks, maybe it was 9 weeks or 10 weeks. Maybe she was pregnant and was going to want to say something, or her mom forced her to call me and tell me. And then when I made her daughter cry, she just decided to just tell me off and not say a goddamn thing.
Interesting.
Because her sister was raising a kid like that. Her older sister was just, the guy was nowhere. It was just like, and then the mom had raised her like that. No dad anywhere. So this was a dadless baby catcher family.
Yeah.
And so, I mean.
So you might have a son out there.
So what I did was I finally ballsed up and I saw the person on Facebook. And so I decided to investigate, and I befriended, and I say, sorry about those weird times, and I was really just a jerk back then. I shouldn't have broke up with you like that. And terrible me. And then through her profile, I see she has a couple of kids. And they're of the different year. You know, like the math doesn't match up with their other kids. But I did contact, and The only possibility is if there was somebody else that was adopted out or given to a family member or something like that, and then it's completely out there in the world, not completely separated. That's a possibility. Or it could be totally true that it was after breaking up with me, you know how sometimes you're on the rebound.
Yeah, sure.
And somebody, whatever the
I
rebound
mean, she
is.
just banged her friend a couple days before you, so it's like she was, she got around.
Yeah. So
It could have been other people.
Yeah.
But it could be yours.
That is a possibility.
You could have offspring.
So that's that tale.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's best, I guess, the way things are. Best not to know, I guess. If there, hopefully there's a mythology around the kid. If the kid was really mine, say it was out there. Hopefully there's a mythology around it where it thinks that there's a mom and dad who's taking care of it really awesome, and there's brothers and sisters.
It's better than this 14-year-old child.
They're not saying anything, even though it might be 6'7" or 6'8", and they're all short. Right. But other than that,
they're all short and Mexican.
And, short and Mexican. And there's this incredibly tall. Just crazy tall. Yeah,
that's a great story, man.
Yeah. No, it's all based on. It's based on the truth.
I assumed it was.
Yeah,
a true story.
Yeah,
I took it all as true.
So going back, you were so low key. And goodness, so. All right, just to cover this base and clear it all up for me, because I didn't feel it finished. When you were a kid and you thought of death, it wasn't necessarily a scary thing. You had at least a backup of heaven, and you could just sort of justify.
No, it was very scary to me.
Okay.
I think even though I talked to God sometimes and had some belief in something, I was very scared of dying.
Scared of the pain.
I think I had an idea that it would be the end, or that it was bad.
You just liked life, and you thought you can't comprehend what all this is about if you're going to
I didn't have a strong confidence that I was going to go to some happy cloud and just be with everyone, all my ancestors.
So then when you were a teenager, how did it morph? How did that thought morph? Where did it go then?
It didn't. I mean, it stayed through into my 20s. I remember I went to Ireland after law school. So that was 95. I'm 27. And I was just out of I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you just travel and you're just out of your context. You don't have your friends around. You don't have your routines. And I just was in the depths of probably the worst depression of my life.
Whoa.
Very suddenly. And I remember I walked by, there was like this Scientology little office, not like the high-tech Scientology of here.
Right.
And they had this little diorama of it was like a life of a man. And it was just like fetus, baby, toddler. And it just had all the 10 figurines, all the little stages of life.
Yes.
And then adult, senior, decrepit, and then bones. And I just looked at this and I was like, yeah, that's it, man. It just goes.
Oh, they caught you. That's what they're there. They're always open like a Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
They're waiting for that one emotional moment. That's why I always thought.
I didn't go in. I just sat. I looked at it and felt terrible. And
but still,
I remember another time,
it's
in Europe.
Yeah, it's what they're doing.
People who were really fucked up physically. Like there was this old woman who's just stooped over walking with 2 canes.
Whoa.
I was in this little grocery store. I was just sitting and resting, and she was walking at me. She's like an animal, like a 4-legged animal, walking with these 2 canes totally hunched over.
It's completely
abnormal. She's coming at me figuratively and literally, like this is my future.
Oh my goodness. So your mind created because of its unusualness, and you could almost say weird in your mind, like it's this weird, and then your mind goes and then creates this emotional, how should I react? Where is my imagination going to go? And then are we going to dip into the pool of me dying and shooting, but also my comedy mind
unmoored. You don't have I didn't have a good routine. I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't have a job yet. I was trying to find a job and I couldn't find a job.
So you're really depressed.
And so I think we really rely more than we realize on all our routines and distractions. And I mean, now it's really easy to be distracted. We got phones and our TV, and it's easy not to get lost in dark thoughts.
So what should you do? How do you get out of it? How should we progress through this dark time right now? What have you found out? Yeah, what's the wisdom?
Oh, geez, man. I don't know.
You have any answers? I mean, you're doing this podcast where you're finding out about
I'm trying
evil
to stay busy.
and
I
sex.
definitely feel like I'm half my productivity, from normal times. I'm not working out as much. It feels like, I guess I would say, it feels like this time doesn't count. That's not
Oh,
true. It
right.
feels like we're like this is just a long weekend,
It
and then
doesn't
once this is
count.
over, it'll be Monday again.
Right.
And
Oh,
this
you're
is
right. You're
and it's
right.
real. I think it's important not to go down that like way of thinking
Because what happens is time is happening. Once again, we're going down a
it's moving
rapids
forward.
of
We're all getting
time.
older. It feels like we're on hold, but we're not on hold.
We're not. Your hair's getting gray right now. We've
How
been
dare you!
talking. That one right there has turned from brown to
Oh,
gray,
no.
right on top there. Just
We
one.
started this conversation you saying I hadn't changed.
Yeah, I
and
saw
now,
it.
like
I saw it
in the
coming,
last
and
hour
then
and a half.
Yep, dude.
Well, that story, really aged me.
Sorry.
No, it was a good story.
I mean, yeah.
I just
Yeah,
it was
so-
the ringer.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, Indiana Jones. There was a special place.
Dun, 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 dun.
Although a bad place, if I ultimately think about it. So maybe it's both the good and the bad. all
I
at
don't think it
once.
should be. Kids are basically terrible.
Well, I'm
creatures.
just saying
We
the
don't
way
have
it
fully
affects
developed
me.
empathy yet,
Yeah, you always wish you could go back and just switch it a little bit. Just
Nice
switch it
that
a
you
little bit.
apologized.
Maybe if
I
me
had a
and
friend who I thought back, like I was feeling sad about some girl, and I thought about this girl that I was really mean to in grade school. And I found her like on Classmates. I looked her up and I managed to track her down, and I just emailed her and I just said, hey, I was just thinking about you. I don't know why, but I was really shitty to you and I'm sorry.
Ooh.
And she wrote me back. She's like, yeah, when I saw you in my inbox, I was like, why is that guy writing to me? He was really
Oh.
a jerk to me. And so she was really like, she was really appreciative, but then she was like married and living in the burbs, and she was like,
Whoa.
oh, we should hang out.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, I didn't really want to
Yeah.
hang out.
So
And
now
so
all
I
of a
had to
sudden,
end up making some
sorry,
excuse.
I have to be a
And I
jerk
hurt her
again.
feelings all over again, basically.
Yeah, you really
He's
were
like,
a
okay,
jerk.
I get it. Yeah.
You
I
just
just wanted to
committed.
apologize. I didn't want to like start a friendship. Yeah,
You
it didn't
basically
work out.
called to get something off your chest, and then it had a deeper meaning behind it. Like, I can never
She's
escape.
like, oh, I can finally win him over.
I'm always bad. I'm never gonna be good. Even the good things are bad things. If I'd let her alone, she wouldn't even remember. Now she's gonna
Yeah,
have that
it was
sadness.
all an ancient memory. I just freshened it.
Yeah, I
Just
did.
refreshed.
That's gonna last another 5 years.
Oh well, I tried. I guess.
You did. Oh, you're so cute. Look at you. You're the cutest. You're the cutest ever.
This is fun, man. Listen, don't feel bad. I think it's great that you have an editing ethic. I think the podcasts that just like two guys just droning at each other for 2 hours, they just put the whole thing up. I resent those guys. I'm like, my time is valuable. Cut out the chaff. You'll hear podcasts where somebody's like, they're like, they've got a problem with the mic or something, or somebody has a coughing fit or something, and they just leave. I'm like, why didn't you cut the coughing fit out? Nobody needs to hear that. I got places to be.
Right. Yes.
I got the middle child thing. Like I don't feel like anyone is interested, and I feel like at any moment people are going to get bored with me. So
Right.
when I edit, I'm editing like a madman because
Okay.
I don't want to lose them.
So I would be the opposite on you. So for the editing part, I'm more about I edit up front and I edit in the back maybe.
But you said you go down this rabbit hole of editing.
If I do, so my problem is I don't put out the material. So all the material that I put out, I have 7 episodes up so far.
Yeah.
All that is minimal editing.
Okay.
But it does improve. I do a little bit more editing in the last 2 than I did in the prior 4 or so, 4 or 5. So I am getting better at it, but I do recognize my weakness sometimes of being overly critical, wanting to be overly perfect.
Yeah,
And also,
you can go too far the other way too, for sure.
And
I think
also,
I do.
having what a deeper thing is more of a low self-esteem, low self-worth, and going, why would anybody want to? This isn't even worth it. I should just go, let me try again. Maybe tomorrow will be better.
I had a comic that I put out 2 weeks ago where I had this idea, and for a second I got excited, and then I sketched it out, and then the next morning when I was supposed to put it out, I was like, this is stupid. There's no punchline. There's no twist. And it turned out like it was really well received, and I was happy with it once I was finished making it. I really liked the way it looked, and we do that to ourselves. We
do. And with the unfortunate thing, like sometimes you do look for validation, and sometimes you don't get it. And so therefore you have to evaluate yourself, and it usually goes into I'm
you gotta be a
shitty
big
pile.
O.
If
Gotta
it
be
goes,
complete.
so that's where I guess, do you meditate? Do you
On and off.
do you
It's
think
been a
about
while. I
thinking?
should be meditating.
So
There are times where I'm good in
I
doing
think
it. I
everybody
do it. I wait till I'm in crisis.
everybody should all the time think about thinking. That's basically what you're doing. You're thinking about thinking. Even if you're trying not to think about it, you're still thinking about not thinking
Right.
about it. And if you can master that in those solitude moments and get good at it, then you can bring it into the real world and have little flashes of in the momentness
Yep.
to not
It's a
lose
muscle.
your perspective. So then say if you're in the editing process and you start going down the rabbit hole of this sucks and I'm terrible and this isn't funny and all that,
Yeah.
you have to go and go, this is the one thing that my mind does. And the other part needs to go, you just need to put it out there because you're being creative, and creative is good, and go be creative.
Yeah.
Don't have too high expectations. So you got to
I heard somebody talk about
connect.
comics, and he gave a great piece of advice, which is that, or just kind of any kind of art, like you learn a lot from the first half of your work on it, and then the second half is like this obsessive tweaking and perfecting, and you don't get that much out of it. So you should try to get to that perfectionism period very quickly and get on to the next one for that first half where
Right.
you're really learning and growing and improving. If you don't waste too much time in that second half of tweaking, you'll grow faster.
So what I'm doing as we're talking, there is a part of my brain, like multitasking, that's trying to be outside a little bit and to just realize to go on these very simple 2 meters. Is this interesting or is this funny? And if it loses any of those two things, I might go into a different subject, go deeper into it.
Right.
I might really climb in there to try and find where's the funny or where's the interesting. So I'm always searching for that.
Yeah. It's good. I think because I know I edit so much in mine, I can sometimes allow things like I'm not as sharp because I'm like, I'll just, this is boring. I'll just cut it up.
Right. And I
So I
don't
think
do
it's
that.
good the way you're
Or
doing
at
it.
least I'm
Yeah.
not trying to do
Like
that.
edit on the fly.
Yeah.
Have you noticed when you're editing, like when you're listening to yourself, do you catch things that you weren't aware of in the moment? Like in your interactions, have you
Well, being ADD in the way I am, there is usually like, I wish I had talked about this, and this, and I could have said
like
that,
branches
and that.
that just didn't get
So
yeah.
right, there's a lot of that, and so I can't really look back because I don't want to get caught down that kind of mind trap. Okay. So I'm trying to plug forward, kind of not look at the wake right now, but slowly looking back, and I'm gonna one day learn how to ride that wake better.
Yeah, yeah.
But right now,
you want to find that
knowing
happy medium.
there is definitely a real there's a real low self-worth kind of thing going on sometimes. You look at your
Darren, that's great. You're a super talented guy.
But you do get what I'm saying, though, right?
Love yourself. Mm-hmm. You hear me?
Right.
Appreciate yourself. Have fun. And tell this demon in you that says it's all garbage, say, fine, it's all garbage. So now I have nothing to lose.
Right. No, that's true. I do need to purposefully switch my mind. So purposefully switching from the glass is half empty to the glass is half full.
Yeah.
Kind of. And you purposely are doing that. You're purposely going, I'm going to find the positive in it. I'm going to find
or what about not evaluating at all?
Right. I guess that would be...
What about not doing this constant thing of, I'm just spitballing. I don't know if that's right.
I guess then I would be...
like evaluating, is this interesting? Is this funny? How about just...
That's more master of meditation talk right there. If I'm a master, then I can probably do that. That's the goal, I guess, right?
I don't know. Everything's like... I think you go too far that way, it could turn out being this self-indulgent, boring thing. Like, you want to have some self-awareness. So
it's true.
Everything's a balancing act, tightrope.
So
I'm a fan, Darren, and I think you should be a fan of Darren too.
Thank you, man. Oh well, one of the side benefits, or maybe the psychological reason why I do these, is also to get the connection with you and to feel alive in our minds and all that kind of stuff. So the moment that we're doing this, like the right now, is like really. It's like an intense drug kind of a weird moment, you know what I mean? But feeling alive, feeling feeling challenged, feeling different thoughts, but also going through emotions, happy, sad, whatever comes up, how it comes up.
Good.
And I like it. Ken, is it possible that we could definitely, because we've been doing what? How long? Much longer have we done? How much long?
Yeah, I think I gotta jump off.
We've
like
gone
an hour
over
45
time.
at this point.
I'm trying to do 90 minutes, so I'm going to try and keep it down.
We've passed that, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Can I do this? Can we end on just talking about your podcast a little bit?
Okay.
Really quick.
Sure.
I love it. I haven't, once again, I peeked through and I don't know everything, but I love the subject
2%
matter.
of it.
I love how you're doing it. It's a really, I want to promote it so much good
Thank
to
you,
the
man.
4 to 6 people that will watch this. They, to go over there because.
I'm proud of it.
So, all right. So a couple ideas since we got short time and I wrote these down for shows, possibilities. Nature versus nurture. Like
Okay.
the nature, it's figure out whatever the narrative might be, or instinct, human instinct, maybe whatever that might mean. Maybe you could find
I
story.
think you should do these shows. I actually on my website I have the first 20 shows already. All the subjects are already
okay.
chosen.
I got you.
How
about
and I tend to gravitate to topics. It's like the way I pick my topics is stuff I've been like stressing about or wondering about my whole life. Like nature versus nurture doesn't interest me that much because I just feel like it's both. It's not one or the other. This is like a weird. I don't get that question.
How about this one? Check this one out. Let me intrigue you.
It's got to be something that I'm like conflicted about.
The subject is, and it's out there, and it should be. Well, let me see if I can sell you on one thing that I thought of, and it really comes from the horn of the top. But you can take so many different angles on it. But lies specifically.
Lies.
They say that when you're a little kid, and one of the first times that you come into your own when you realize the world is different than everybody was telling you about, is usually the moment when you tell your first lie. When you're able to tell your first lie and then change the worldview of what that person, like, did you do? And I did not do that. And then they go, oh, good.
Right.
You didn't do it.
That's what it always is with the kids. Sorry, trying not to get in trouble.
Right. So
broke some rule. You did something bad.
So your kind of life path is kind of told by what the reaction is when you tell that first lie or those first couple of lies. Or the biggest first lie. It's all in that kind of pool. But if in one case, if you're a kid and you get away with it spectacularly, which I believe the leader of our United States did, he got away with something spectacular, or people knew that it was a lie, but they chose to do the other thing because they knew that he was such a brat that he would probably tell, like you got away with something with the maid or something with somebody that was on the staff. And he knew as a little kid that he's lying, and he knew that they knew he was lying, but they did it anyways because he's powerful and he's got this thing. And look at me, I won a fight right there. I made you do that thing for me, and now I get rewarded with the Diet Pepsi. Or whatever that thing is that he did as a kid, and the way it just sort of everybody purposefully turned away from his lies, and we're like, I know he's lying, but he pays the bills. He'll get mad. Look at how mad he'll get if you tell him he lied there. You know what I'm saying? So then he's been getting away with that shit since he was a teenager. Everybody knew he was rich. I'm sure his dad would come to the school and tell the school, like, well, I'm making a new wing if you just keep him here another year.
That's super interesting, fertile ground. Why are you pitching topics to me? And you have a podcast. Why aren't you doing this podcast?
So, and then on other respects, a liar could
Wait, I just asked you a question.
Well, I'm just. Can we flag that and let me get to the end of this thought? It's a thought rule of 3. I have to do the second and third.
Sorry.
ADD. I'll go down some other rabbit hole. So the second way is if he would have told that lie and not gotten away with it. If he would have been shamed, cried, something, therefore his life would, all of a sudden lies would be a different thing. They would be pain and stuff. So now he's afraid of lying. He's afraid. So that kind of a kid can be grown up.
My dad told me a story about a friend of his who got caught cheating in college, and later he went to work in like stock market or finance or something. And it's like, it's the best thing that ever happened to me because like, I realized how awful that was, and like ever since it's been straight and narrow. If I'd gotten away with it, I probably would have been like a corrupt person, you know?
So what you're saying, kind of in a way, so and if Trump was a kid and he was getting away with those lies for a couple of years, he should have at least when he was a teenager got his fucking ass kicked.
He never got a comeuppance.
To the point, yeah, where he got his comeuppance. So he's basically a guy who's been so lucky in life, or at least
really
so
unlucky in a way, because he never
mentally
learned
strong.
a thing.
So
Yeah.
even I could imagine his psychosis goes so deep, he could have got his ass kicked really bad a lot, but he, in his mind, kind of conjigures it to where he won somehow, like ultimately through some revenge thing, being the richer guy, whatever he did to switch that. So in other words, whatever comeuppance he may have had, it never registered with his ass. It made him stronger or worser. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That sounds about
And
right.
then there's another one who, if there's a lie and it's told, but then the parent comes back with a really, like, I know you just lied to me and let's talk about lies. And they really, like, almost like the birds and the bees, like, I know that you're, you know, if, like everybody's super smart and they know all these things, would do that, that would also produce a third different kind of kid too, who might, be very, I don't know how they would take it because that doesn't happen. So that's the fantasy kid. But usually it's one of the others. Somebody's either afraid to lie or lies like a mother effer.
Yeah.
And that's what we got going on right now. Anyways, so that would be a topic, right? Talk about lies and how big they are. Just because everybody there's so many of them nowadays that people are brushing them off. Just a lie. Just a lie. But if you really look at the deeper psychological thing, like these are things that are tearing down what we would call basically society link by link, like chainmail, like breaking links. And suddenly there's no chainmail.
Yeah.
Lies are just little...
No, I remember like when I let religion go, I started gravitating towards these ideas of like honor and a man's word is his bond, and that was really appealing to me, and it still is to some degree. Like,
no, it's good.
The idea like I say something, and because I live a certain way, people like give value to just your words.
You have a response. You're responsible. You're
I mean, that's the goal. I'm not saying I'm always like
right, but you can be counted on more than most.
Well, oops.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very excited for your podcast. I'm gonna definitely listen to it. I'm gonna make sure a lot of people listen to it. I would like to do this again. The way I'm doing it is, it's kind of like now that you've done it, you're kind of part of the family, so to speak. And then in the next 6 months, a year, we come and we could talk about whole other things because we got comedy to talk about, Steve O. Harvey to talk about. There's so many other areas. The time kind of flew, but I think we did some good bits, and there was funny. Yeah. And that's worth something, right?
Definitely.
As long as we laughed.
It was a good time. Let me know when it goes up. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, about a week.
Okay.
All right, so then...
do a little editing for my sake. Give it a listen.
There you go. I will edit out that part that you just said, so nobody will know that you told me to do that.
That's my own insecurity, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. Like it's just like watching your sets on stage. Like, you know, you had to do that. I don't know if I felt like when I'd watch my sets, I'd be like, oh shit, I did this, I did that.
Yeah, I never did
realize. It's good to sort of see it from the outside.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how you're different than me. I think it all stems from a low self-esteem, so I wouldn't watch myself. I don't even like looking in mirrors.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit.
I don't know. You don't know what you're missing, man. It's a beautiful face.
Well, I am doing this thing, and there you are. Thanks, Dan. I hope it was interesting to you and whoever was listening.
It's great seeing you. It's been a long time.
I will keep in contact with you more often now, and so we'll be like friends. All right.
I love it.
All right. You jump off. I'll end the show, and then boom. So I don't have to edit the end.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
That's Dan Kaufman, man. I'll put all your info up on the show, and it's over. And let's end it. So that's the end of the show. Dan Kaufman. Yeah, it was a little bit long. I will try and edit it down. How about that? Oh, promises. What will I promise next? I don't know. I hope something good. But wow, yeah, his website, it's really good. So here's what it's called. It's called Myoclonic Jerk. I'll print it out on the thing. You'll see it before you even heard this stuff. So, yeah, this is that thing that's, yeah, you saw it a couple of days ago and whatever. So, yeah, I like that guy. That guy's just a good guy, very talented. And I did not expect to tell that story. What a tale. That was my first time ever doing it. The first time and the worst time. First was the worst. I was so messed up after that, I did not do it for actually years after that. And then when I did only once and waited another couple of years. It took me till I was out of the army, literally, to be comfortable enough with one person to go, what, we could more than once? Every 2 years? That's crazy. Anyways, it was, growing up, it's rough. There's no rule book. You don't know. You don't know. So you're trying to put it all together yourself and improv through life. And since nobody's talking about anything about sex, good thing I at least knew that people could get pregnant that way. I'm surprised I was that smart at 16. That thing was ridiculously tight, man. Ridiculous. It was really ridiculous. Yeah. Makes you feel big, I guess. Wow, I didn't realize I'm too big for a whole company that makes these things. You would think they would, I don't know, have somebody in the field and measuring, I think this is a good size, yeah. That was not a good size. Oh well. Search for what's within the madness. Take it easy.